Welcome to the Sydney Property Muppets podcast. My name is Kurt. I'm the real estate agent, and with me forever,
Chris, buyer's agent.
beautiful,
Great to see
sexy, always smiling.
Make me blush.
Yeah, that's
Literally
what we're
and
about here.
figuratively.
Positivity.
Good to see you, mate. Good to see you.
always
Welcome
good
back.
to see
Welcome
you.
back.
Thank you.
Interesting episode this week. We're really at the cold face of the election. When this episode drops, election will be, voting will occur tomorrow.
Yep.
And obviously it takes a few days, usually an announcement that night, but it takes a few days or a week or so for the official numbers to come through.
It's really funny. I'm gonna hear for the whole Saturday my dad talking about why
Dad?
isn't it that we don't use computers to record the votes and all that.
Yeah, right. So I thought you'd hear about it from everyone coming to your inspections, and your question would be, have you had your, what's it called, sausage? What's it, democracy sausage yet?
Democracy.
Have you actually voted yet?
No.
Question. I had voted.
I'll vote on Saturday.
I did today.
You did?
Well, done, dusted. Can't change it.
Well, apparently I learned, fun fact, there's a reason why they actually don't put it on computers, because it's so you can't go back to someone and be like, prove that you've voted for this party, something to do.
Yeah, but it's also weird. Even when I went in today, it's like the first question is, have you already voted in this election? Obviously, just normal, that's standard question I have to ask. I said no. But I'm also there going, surely they would have a computer to be like, Christopher Clark has been involved. Anyway, so election, what does it mean? What do we, from a property standpoint, ask you, what's been happening the last 2 or 3 weeks, and what do you see happening in the next couple of weeks? Really specific about the timing here.
Well, to be specific, the last 3 months, if you look at some
3 months, okay, yep.
some news articles, they would suggest that the property market's going up, and but as we've discussed, that often that's based on settlements from people that have bought previously.
Yeah, quite often data, say for the month of April, is actually data from the month of February, but just gets recorded in April. So there's a lag effect.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, prices have been going up overall.
Noticeably in our area, where actually a few properties houses have come to the market.
In the last 3 months, or more specifically?
No. We had 4 properties in the Chatswood area specifically come onto the market. This will be on Thursday.
So 4 houses, you're saying?
Yep.
And last 2 or 3 weeks, how many houses have come on the market in that same area?
You probably noticed maybe no more than, I don't think there would have been 4 each Thursday come onto the market. Like it was.
So there's 4 this week and there's been 4 every other week.
No. As in, sorry, no more than 2 or 3. Like it's been very clustered. Sometimes there might just be 1 house coming to the market. There might have been 2, but to have 4 hit the market
A bit stronger.
on the one day, that's
Okay.
been a noticeable change that I've noticed.
And then what do you predict on the crystal ball, not longer term, but the next week or two? What do you see from your lead, your discussion with sellers and buyers? What do you anticipate to happen in the next 2 weeks?
I think activity will actually stay strong, get stronger.
Okay. Get stronger, he says with a cheeky grin.
What about yourself? From a
Yeah, look, it's obviously interesting from a buyer because it's most of my discussions don't really have discussions with sellers at all, whereas you're fortunate if you have discussion with sellers when you're selling the property or trying to sell, and then you have discussion with buyers when they're turning up.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say to
Go on, please.
the discussions we're having with sellers, it's nothing about the elections really coming up.
Yeah, and look, I haven't really had it either from that standpoint, but I have had 4 buyers briefs at the moment, and I'd say all 4 apart from 1 are quite have cooled off in terms of their real thrust and let's go forward and make this happen. And you could talk about tariffs, you could talk about election, you could talk about Easter and Anzac Day, and I'm sure those things all combined. What I have seen, and that's been the existing clients, and then potential pipeline of clients haven't seen much until this week. This week I've had 3 new potential clients reach out for consultations, and the 3 weeks prior I've had 0 of those. So I go from 0 for 3 weeks to 3 in 1 week. I'm then anticipating next week, the week after, things to pick up. And I think that won't just be my portfolio. I think that'll be a lot of buyers in the market who, weirdly, we spoke about it on a previous episode, like the election doesn't really do much work. I'm anticipating a Labor-led government to
Labor-led government
to come in. I'd be very surprised.
That's your hot take?
I'd be surprised if it's going to change.
Interesting.
You think it's going to change?
No, I don't think it'll change.
No, exactly. But you'd say it could change some of the...
It will be interesting to see. So last election, I think, was a big swing away from, I think, Liberals lost quite a few seats to Independents or the Teals.
Yep.
And it'll be interesting to see now a year on the people that have...
3 years on.
Sorry, a few years on.
Sorry, yeah.
The change of like, did people resonate with the change? Did they feel the independents were able to make a difference?
Provide that voice they were looking for.
Also, compared to obviously there was big talk when the US election was going on. Now the difference probably about the Australian scene to the American scene is that the American scene, even though only just under half the population sort of vote. I'm going off 350 and
whatever it is. They're not. It's not legislation. Everyone has to vote. Not mandatory.
But it is a very passionate topic. It's really hotly debated. Whereas in Australia, it's kind of like for most of the population, it's election time.
It is interesting, and I've noticed it. Maybe just the maturity of social media coming through. That there is definitely more. I think influencers or engagement and platforms where people are talking about who they're voting for, and I think that's an American thing where Americans are very like, I'm red, you're blue, we can't work together, and that's not. I don't think that's a great way of living in a democracy. But I think some of it's creeped into here, and I think when I grew up, you didn't know who you voted for. I wouldn't say who I voted for. Where there is becoming a bit more like, I'm happy to stand up and not only tick a parchment in closed door, but I'm actually happy to have that discussion, which may not be a bad thing, but then also can be used as a weapon to push people in, say you're wrong and I'm right.
Yeah, and I think just on your topic, and a little bit off the housing thing, but I'm also all for, I love the openness of actually people discussing, but I think what people also need to understand is, I notice we're getting a lot more, I won't be friends with you, or people won't associate with people because of that. And it's funny, I'm meeting up with someone very shortly who is a client of ours. They bought for us, and we probably sit opposite, not drastically opposite sides of the spectrum,
but in opposite courts.
Opposite one. But it'll be great because we'll talk whatever we'll talk, and then we might discuss a bit of politics. He sort of says what he thoughts, I sort of say my thoughts, and we're not trying to persuade the other person, kind of listening, because it's like, be a bit open, like, have I missed something here? But
yeah, true.
Then it's like, cool, we just get on. And I think if people had a bit more...
that's coming back to my thing. I think that's a good, mature way of doing it, but I do think some people more not only are happy to say who they're voting for, but almost put it like, and why aren't you? Whereas you're saying that's a nice, mature way of having a conversation around it. But circling back to property, so I anticipate, I actually think the last month my take in the ground has been market's been quite flat. Nothing's really, price hasn't dropped, price hasn't jumped. I'd be surprised if we're in a month's time when we do our market review for the month of June that I'm then not talking about it. It's been bullish. Prices are definitely pushing forward.
Yep. Took me a hot second to mean like when we do the next month, I was like, we're going to be doing the market for May.
Yeah, I guess we kind of are May review.
But no, June, I understand what you mean. In June,
we'll be doing it. Yeah. So all right. Anything else? Hot takes?
Hot takes. I think if you're looking at buying, get into the market, get out there, keep searching. Don't stop the election. Don't let the election stop you. And if you're a seller, sell.
If you're a seller, sell.
The election's not going to affect you.
Right. So 3 quick cues. It was a bit of fun towards the end of the episode. I liked the one we did previously where we did like, who would you want to have a beer with?
Ooh.
And come up with some new ones in that field. So got to pick one or the other. These are sort of people are playing at home. You'll know these well. So come up with who you choose and then see if Kurt does the same. I have to have a beer with one of these two, only one of them. Daly Cherry Evans or Billy Slater?
Shocking clubs, mate. I'd probably go Billy Slater.
Any reason as to why you would just slightly favour him?
He terrorised me during Origin. My formative years from year 2 to year 11. No, I think he's been a much more successful player. I'm sure they're both great blokes, but if I had to choose one, it's just something about Billy Slater, the way he was on the footy field, lightning. Like, I remember one time he scored a try and 5 Tigers are trying to tackle him over the sideline. He's still got the ball down. It's like, freak.
Okay, nice one. Okay, next one.
Billy Slater, Instagram us, reach out.
Tag. Let's catch up. I've actually met and caught up with Daly Cherry Evans in a different world. Mary Fowler or Sam Kerr?
Mary Fowler.
All right, okay, nice. And key one here.
Well, for anyone that's watched the previous episode, there's nothing against Sam Kerr.
Yeah, she has come out twice now. and not being picked
Admittedly,
once.
it was Tim Cahill versus Sam Kerr. I was like, Tim Kerr.
I did look back. It was actually close
And
call.
now going like for like, I like something about Mary Fowler and her being in a centre attacking midfield, and there's something like a workhorse and someone that has that. She has a bit more consistent magic, I feel, throughout the game, and that's someone I'd like, I think there's some good stories there.
Yeah, no, good. Okay, last one. There's definitely a hypothetical. Homer Simpson or Peter Griffin?
Oh, you got to go Homer.
Really? Old school. Nice.
The thing I love about Homer is like, no matter how many mistakes that bloke makes, he just always keeps getting up every day and just going to work and looking after his family.
No, mate, fair enough.
We're here hitting the deep things here.
We are. Do you know what's funny? Is I would have picked the opposite out of everything there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Very good. All right.
Homework.
Who's on, me or you?
You.
Okay, go for me. I think the simplest thing we can all ask for is it's election. You got to vote. Vote with your fingers. Get on there. Share this episode, whether you're watching Spotify, YouTube, one of our shorts. Share it to someone in your network who's looking to buy or sell property in Sydney.
Perfect. Enjoy.
Thanks for dropping by.